Hi, I'm Natalie.
I'm Connor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for seeing me.
Of course. So, may I ask what's brought you in today?
Well, life was fine, and everything was going fine. I was in school, taking my classes, and I was gonna say unexpectedly, but not really unexpectedly. My granny died about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm in school, everything's going fine, and it's just, like you said, it's just sad and very depressing, and I'm just kind of thinking about whether I should finish the rest of my studies and finish my last semester of school, or whether I should just maybe go back home and see if I can help my mom deal with her mom's loss.
So it sounds kind of like everything was normal for you, and this was just a shock that kind of rocked your foundation a little bit. I mean, and that's kind of what death does. Even if it's somewhat expected, it's still a shock, and that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, I was just ready to graduate college, be on with it, didn't really have any worries, and then something like this happens. And like I said, it wasn't really unexpected. It was more so of, when is this going to come? But it just kind of came at a bad time for me, and I was pretty close with my granny and papa, and I still have my papa, but I don't know, it's kind of a rough patch for me, and that's, I guess, why I came to see if you could offer any suggestions for my help to help me cope with this.
Okay, well, to get some background information, can you tell me a little bit about what your relationship was like with your granny?
Sure. Well, she lived in Mississippi with my papa because they just like the, I guess, wilderness, or like being out in the open. So I didn't see her too often, just because she was in Mississippi. But with that being said, I called her a lot, and they would come in for pretty much every main holiday, and anytime I would come in from Baton Rouge, I would either see them in New Orleans, or we would drive up with my family to kind of see her. And like I said, I didn't see her much, but it just feels like a piece of me is just kind of missing, just her not being there in the past few weeks, and just I feel like I have a little less to live for now. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, that's somebody who has been a stable, present person throughout your life. I mean, and how much you see somebody doesn't define how close you are to them. So you guys, it seems like you had a really close relationship, and she was someone who was a strong figure in your life.
Well, yeah, I agree, and like you said, I wasn't physically close to her a lot of the time, but I knew I could always go to her and talk to her if I needed something. Whereas a lot of times my mom and I like to argue about personal things. So I guess, if nothing else, she helped me along the way with that, in terms of I knew I had somebody other than just my mom or my dad to go to. And I don't know, that just helped me get through a lot of things.
She's kind of a confidant, like
exactly.
someone you could go to for anything.
I
mean, and I totally understand that. That's a very hard loss to go through.
And just with her kind of being gone now, I don't know, I couldn't even imagine how my papa feels, let alone just how I feel. So I'm sure he feels really, really bad about the situation too. So.
Have you tried speaking to him about any of it yet?
I'm pretty close with him too. So kind of when she passed away, I had grief for him, and I was obviously sad and mourning his loss, and I pretty much told him that there was still a lot to live for, and that we still had each other. But I don't know, I could tell he's having a tough time dealing with it, kind of similar to how I am. So I'm just trying to get over it at this point.
Of course.
Trying to figure out what to do.
Well, and I don't know if you would feel comfortable, since it's so fresh, talking to him about it this early on, but if you were, or when you do feel a little strength, I think that there is power between two people coming together over somebody that they really both loved and appreciated. And I think that it sounds like he's somebody that you can really go to about this. And I mean, I suggest a lot of times what helps with grief is sitting with somebody else and being with somebody who has been through it as well, and sharing together.
Yeah, I really didn't even think of that, honestly. I feel like I said, sometimes me and my mom argue, but as you were saying, if I could just call him in the future, or
definitely,
like if whether it's talk to him about my personal life or whether it's like I don't know, just talking about my granny, just something like that. I feel like would kind of help us both maybe get through the situation in the future.
Well, and maybe it might be a good idea if you have a weekend coming up. You could spend the night or a couple days there with him. I mean, he's obviously going through loss too, and it might be kind of nice for you guys to reminisce and sort of grieve together. And I mean, I think that part of the hardest thing about grief sometimes is the loneliness that you can feel. So being together for each other might do a lot.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Like, even though I'm at college, I really, since this happened and since you brought that up, I really think I need to maybe take some time out if I have free time and maybe just go visit him or just see what he has to say and just make sure he's okay. And I was going to say, I do have a pretty good, I guess, support system in Baton Rouge and at my house in New Orleans with my family and friends. But like you were saying, I think maybe between me and my papa, that could both help us like cope with her loss, just if we came together and kind of talked about it or something, or spent some more time together.
Definitely. And you did say something earlier that I kind of wanted to go back and touch on. You are about to finish college, and you've got, 2-3 weeks left, and you're worried about if you need to just stop and take a break and come back to school later or continue with it. Do you have any more thoughts to expand that a little bit about where you're at?
Well, about a year ago or in the past few months or so, I thought graduate school was going to be like a viable option, and my grades are good enough. But with just my granny's passing, I think right now I just need to focus on school, focus on my studies, stay close with my family, spend some time with my papa, and then I think just in the next 6 months to a year, hopefully I'll be able to reevaluate that and hopefully get back into school and eventually go to graduate school and get a higher degree.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders and you kind of have a set idea of what you want and that you've thought about it. I definitely agree. I think that finishing up with your college education right now, and then you can always come back for graduate school. And I honestly think a lot of times students need that and need time to sort of figure out what path they want to go on. And you can,
I agree.
Yeah, you can use this time to be with your family and also just kind of develop yourself a little bit. This is a hard time for a lot of people.
And I was going to add on to that by saying, other than my family, my immediate family, and my friends that I know I can turn to, my family has pretty much instilled like a pretty strong religious faith and beliefs, like I guess, into our family. So I feel like if nothing else, when I'm struggling to get by, my granny's passing away, or if I'm struggling with my schoolwork, that through my parents or just through my own religious beliefs and my faith, that hopefully I can turn to that if I ever get into a tough situation again like this.
If you don't mind me asking, what are your spiritual beliefs?
I'm Catholic.
Catholic?
Yeah,
okay.
My whole family's Catholic.
Wow. Well, so have you thought about talking to one of the priests at your church at all? Or are you close in that respect?
I haven't, to be honest with you, since I've been in college, I've kind of not gone to mass as much. So I don't know if that would necessarily be a good idea.
Okay.
But like I said, my grandparents and my whole family keep the faith and
that's great.
Very strong religious beliefs. So I think if nothing else, when I'm in tough times, that I can always just pray or just think upon these things and just know that my granny's safe in heaven with God, you know.
And praying itself is really helpful, I think, to sort of let out what you're thinking and feeling, and it helps a lot in the time of grief. So, I mean, I recommend maybe trying to pray a little bit before bed or when you're really thinking about it. And I think that that's kind of one of the benefits of faith, is it really guides you along in a rough time. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all your suggestions to me, and I really think meeting with you today, Natalie, has helped.
I'm so glad.
I hope in the future, if I struggle with this again, if either another family member passes or if I still am struggling with the loss of my granny, that I can either come back to you or maybe even call you and just talk to you on the phone if I ever have
come
issues.
Back anytime. Feel free to call my office. I can take an appointment from you for you, and I will make it work. And just even it doesn't even have to be about anything serious. If you just need someone to talk to, cool. I will always be here.
All right, sweet. That sounds good. I appreciate it.
It was really nice to meet you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Nice meeting you.